Alrighty, away we go. How's it going, everybody? I'm Brandon. You may also know me as Headbanger142 or the Hardcore Dude or whatever, so just want to post on here on my alternate account because I have my monetization back. Yay! And I just wanted to take a chance to give it a little bit of a test. So, if you don't know me, I usually do BattleBots videos, or I do my own internet review series, or maybe I'm doing top 10s of YouTubers or whatnot. So, yada yada. And if you're wondering why I have sunglasses indoors, I have special eyes. You're welcome. So, now, one of the things that I think really made my channel kind of go up in popularity in the early 2000s was my Smegged up YouTube failure lists. The term Smegged up came from Red Dwarf, obviously. Basically, it was just me doing random top 10s of YouTubers who make really weird or bad content and whatnot. And it was basically whatever, like just random YouTubers you could find, like Annoying Orange, Fred, just all those old school YouTubers, and I mean seriously old school. A lot of them aren't even around anymore. But yeah, believe it or not, and this actually we'll get to the subject of this particular video, is a lot of the YouTube lists and the YouTuber videos I made, they were inspired by watching commentary videos. Now, if you don't know what I mean, way back around 2009, 2010, there was a bunch of YouTubers who would do their own running commentary on some crummy video they find, like, and I mean seriously old videos, like old enough to drink, like the YouTuber Clan, I think Shane Dawson when he was making those terrible videos, like way old school. And not a lot of them, like, if you look back at some of those old videos, a lot of them have not aged well. Like, there's stuff on there that I'm not happy with, but you know what? Sometimes you make mistakes, you move on from them. Yep. So, but anyway, so this is a little bit of a test. Recently, me and my friend Hunter Ivy, who was with me for the last YouTube failure I listed in 2020, I believe, we were going to make like a series where we were talking about really bad YouTubers on it. He talked about EDP and Lunchly, I believe it's called. It's that Lunchables ripoff that was created by Logan Paul, KSI, and Mr. Beast, and the whole thing about that. But it had some problems. We tried to do like a background, like using one of the Skype backgrounds, and it looked like crap. But a lot of it's on me. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video. I'm not going to do any fancy editing, no crazy effects, nothing. This is a straight up video essay, and I wanted to get this out to you guys because I have wanted to talk about this for a very long time. So, that's why episode 1 is going to be focusing on the art commentary community, or a little bit of the slideshow commentary community, but it's basically the same thing, where like the slideshow community was like a person they play the video, and then they put like a picture from like a cartoon or an anime or something and talk over it and go right back to continuing the video, that kind of stuff. And then you have the art commentary community where the YouTuber draws while they're doing the commentary. Like, that, I guess that's why they call it. That's whatever. And recently, I've noticed the art commentary community is, it's dead. That's all I'm going to say. It's dead. And there is good reason why it's dead, because, like, going all the way back to when I had a bit of a confrontation with them in 2012 over one of the videos I made, you can kind of tell something was amiss. Because I think, like, sometime after that, like, I do notice a lot of these commentaries are put together when someone has, like, a different opinion than someone has. Like, maybe a different opinion of a cartoon or a bad take or whatever. Like, I know people remember when the mysterious Mr. Enter mentioned 9/11 in his Turning Red review. Yeah, that kind of stuff. That kind of bad takes. But lately, like, holy crap, it's gotten to a point where it's not even funny anymore. It's just downright awful. And I really started to notice it was getting bad in 2016, because back then, around August of 2016, I was trying to help out a YouTube commentator raise money for his friend Emmett. He was being physically abused by his conservative parents because he came out as gay, and his parents being hardcore Christian conservatives, they think that's a sin. So they were physically abusing him. And so a GoFundMe was put together to get him out of the house, get him into a safe home, and away from all that abuse. So he asked me to make a video for it, and I said sure. And around the same time, some greasy, no-shower, human nerd emoji named Ephraim Josine made this shitty video where he was mocking the victim, mocking the GoFundMe, calling it a scam, just absolute garbage. So aside from making it like it was like a combination of a promo and a commentary on this Ephraim person, and like I think a couple days after that, his friends made like a 2-hour video on me, just blathering nonsense. They actually called me an F-slur who should be killed by Fred Phelps at one point. Just... And considering that asshole is dead now, that's pretty funny. What's not funny is a couple days after that, I'm at work, I get a call from my mom. Someone from YouTube called my aunt and uncle saying that I was going to game end myself on YouTube, and they were absolutely freaking out. I don't know how they got the number. I don't know why the frig they did this, but they had me on KYS watch for a long time. But I confronted them. I asked them why the hell did they do this, because otherwise I was going to call the cops on them. They ended up blocking me and then running away. Unfriggin' real. And what was all this because? It was because I tried to help an abuse victim? What the frig, man? I don't get it. But from what I heard, the GoFundMe, apparently $2,300 got raised, which, whatever. But last time I heard, he was able to get out of that house and get into a new home. So, good for him. And then after that I made like 2 more shitty commentaries. One was on this guy who was sweeping for Leafy is Here, which, knowing how much of a piece of shit Leafy is here, yeah, imagine sweeping for that guy. And another video was on a guy who was defending the twerking scene in the Powerpuff Girls reboot, you know, the 2016 one. And if you know the whole story behind the 2016 reboot, and the head writer, and the producer who self-inserted himself into falling in love with Blossom, yeah, I know it was meant as a joke. It wasn't a funny joke. It was gross. And then, for whatever reason, 2 nut jobs named Doodle Tones and Ryan Mills did a response. And one of them was using a chipmunk voice like Fred Figglehorn. I'm like, what the hell is this? I couldn't finish the video because the audio was so terrible. And I'm like, what the heck? And guess what I found out later? I found out both of these people were, what's a good way to say it without getting demonetized? PDF files? So apparently Ryan Mills, well, now apparently they went by Autumn Kanoha or something sometime after that. Apparently they were trying to hook up with a teenager, even though they were like deep into their 20s. And the other person, Doodle Tones, the chipmunk-voiced person, a couple weeks after this, apparently they did a commentary on Mr. Medicare, where they openly tried to defend fetish artwork, because it turns out they had fetishes of their own. They had a diaper fetish, a CSEM fetish, and I can't believe this third one, a puberty fetish. Why? I don't want to know, but the video ended up going viral. Medicare made a response video to it. And when they found out about the diaper fetish, it solidified this person as Doodle Diapers. Exactly. It was ridiculous. And for whatever reason, Autumn Kanoha got kicked off of YouTube. For whatever reason, they kept Doodle Diapers around. And people were saying, oh, she was groomed. And this all happened years ago, it's no big deal. No, because I found out years later she actively participated in a child grooming server called the FCK server, or the Fruitcake Club server. She and several commentators were in it, and they knew. Then there were kids in that server getting sent porn and stuff, and it's like, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Which leads me to the commentary community today. So, around 2018, there was like this insurge of YouTubers getting outed for doing really creepy things. Toon Critic, Shane Dawson got outed at one point, Grizzly the Medic, just a whole bunch of people were getting outed as creeps. So, a user by the name of Joshua Vita, who was a Brony commentator, created a Discord server called Top of the Barrel, which was supposed to be like a predator hunting server. He had people like Lio Convoy and Coyote Lovely, FNGR, a bunch of Brony reviewers and cartoon reviewers and all this other nonsense. And I guess the idea was they confront PDF aisles and they chastise them for 3 hours, which is well deserved. But then they just let them go, because I've checked. One of the users, Lio Convoy, has like a whole series of Discord calls where he's talking to these people, but he doesn't get them arrested or not. I think it has something to do with the fact that maybe because these people weren't actually physically abusing kids. I don't know. I'm not a cop. I don't know how this works. But 6 years this thing was around and nobody got convicted. Well, one person did get arrested, but I will let you know when I get to it. But when you take a look at the people in this server, this community, this whole thing, you start to notice why this community died the death it did. And I have a list on my laptop right here. I got a list, everybody! Congratulations, you have made the list. And here we go. We'll start off with Fusion W. So this was a commentator who made a series of videos called Brony Bucks, which was basically him shitting on Brony YouTubers. In particular, Jasper Pie, I guess because he's cringe, or he's a creep. Now look, I've known Joey for years. He's a goofball, but he would never do anything to kids. You know who did do something to kids? Fusion, when he thought it would be funny to send nudes of himself to kids on Discord. He ended up getting kicked out of the group, but from what I heard, he apparently wants to make a comeback. Yeah, no. Fuck your comeback. You don't deserve it. Go to jail. That's strike one. FNGR, so I guess he was like a pre-Senate, pre-barrel predator hunter. I guess after people in the YouTube community were getting outed, I guess he was supposed to be like a predator hunter of sort. But again, he's never gotten anybody arrested. And from what I've gathered, nobody really liked the guy. He was constantly getting into arguments with people. He got to a spat with Mr. Medicare when he tried to sweep for doodle tones after the diaper thing. He actually tried to challenge him to a debate, but then he backed out, and I don't think they've ever had the debate yet. And Medicare is slowly dying of cancer, so I don't know. And since apparently this FNGR guy just left YouTube, and I'll tell you why. But yeah, he also got into legal trouble with a mentally handicapped teenager named Buttons, who he was apparently dating. And when people called him out for it, his response was, "She's of age, my man." Look, I don't give a crap if she's 18, 19, well, no. It doesn't matter if she was above 18. a 35 to 40-year-old man dating a teenager is just weird. I don't know why people do it. I don't know. And after all that mess, he got kicked out because he falsely accused somebody of abusing his son, when in actuality the child was just sleeping on a Twilight Sparkle pillow that had a plot on it. That's literally it. The child was in no danger. He got mad at the guy, called him the N-word, and then, yeah, he got kicked out. Dumb. This one's a little bit more obscure, but I think some people might be familiar with this one. Chambers of the Heart. This was some alt-right commentator and #1 Nick Rekieta fan, oh dear, who was a regular in Lio and Vita's videos, particularly the Ichabod Call, made multiple videos calling LBGT people pedophiles while simultaneously sweeping for a guy who gave crack cocaine to his 9-year-old daughter. I'm not making that up. And given that most of the people in this community were LBGT themselves, why was she in the barrel? Why was she in barrel? Why was she in the community? What was her role? I don't know, but that's evil. Okay, here we go. This is someone I've had requests for quite a while. Zaid Magenta, aka Misanthropony. Now, believe it or not, I have gone through similar situations that Zaid went through. Now, if you don't know who Zaid was, he was a YouTube reviewer. He did reviews of the Star Wars sequels, which, you know, they're not that good. I'm sorry, they're just not that good. Really, the big problems I had with the sequels, there was a few things. One, they completely blew it on Finn. Two, I wish the space battles were better. I was raised on Rogue Squadron. I want my space battles better. But whatever. That's not the point. So the problem was, apparently, he made like, I think 8 videos on The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is whatever. But apparently, I guess people were giving him shit for not liking The Last Jedi. And I have, like I said, I've gone through something like this before. I've had people who shat on me because I didn't like Fritz the Cat, or The Grim Adventures of the KND, or some other thing like that. Because, at least, like with Fritz the Cat, people were like, oh, you're focusing too much on the porn and not the politics. That's literally the reason why Robert Crumb killed off the character. It focused too much on the porn and not on the politics. If you get rid of the porn, there's nothing to the movie. I don't know. But, whatever. But, at some point, apparently it got so bad that apparently Zaid was actually making multiple sock puppet accounts and stalking people and leaving death threats on people's channels, and it's like, God almighty. And Lio Convoy eventually stepped in for him. And yeah, I saw the video clip where he got mad that I would put Zaid on my YouTube failure list. But I wrote a comment. I said, you know what? Like, I heard what happened to Cartoon She. You know what? Mistakes happen. Don't let them happen again. It happened again. And it happened again. And again, and again, and again, and it reached the point where eventually they finally kicked him out, but not before it led to quite possibly the worst YouTube video of all time, but I'll get around to that. Oh, God damn it, Joshua Vita. So, this was the guy who created Top of the Barrel, which was supposed to be a predator hunting server on Discord, and let me start off by saying that I don't like Discord. I'm sorry. I've had bad experiences on that site. Creeps everywhere. So, I guess this server was supposed to be a safe haven for victims and helping them get out of abusive relationships or something like that. But this guy, well, you knew things were starting to get sketchy when it came out that he apparently doxed 50 people at a brony convention called Sequestria Fest, which, why would you do that? What's the good in that? He eventually ended up getting into legal trouble because of that. And that was not the worst thing he did. Turns out he was a PDF file himself. So there was a brony artist named Mintheart. They now go by Jordan. They were in the server for a while. They knew Vita for a long time. and apparently Jordan was in a terrible household. Their mother's boyfriend was physically abusing them. The mother knew what was happening, didn't care, wouldn't do anything about it. So it led to a whole shabazz until it finally came out that Vita was actually going after kids himself. If you look up Queen Serafina's video on this thing, God Almighty, this is one of the worst cases I've ever seen. He had groomed Jordan, and he groomed 3 other teenagers, like for years. Like he was doing this to Jordan since they go by they now. Since they were about 13, 14 years old. And this idiot thought he could create a predator hunting server? Why? To cover up the fact that he was doing disgusting things to kids? Is that the right idea? Well, congratulations, because eventually everyone found out what he was doing. And then Jordan finally came out, because apparently Jordan was unable to tell Lio and everybody about this, because Vita was threatening to hurt their family. It was like, mother of God. Finally, and you're probably wondering, did Vita go to jail? He did go to jail, but not for the reasons you'd think. So, Vita, they were in a call with Jordan and Lio. Vita was trying to game end himself with pills. Lio filed a wellness check on Vita, which it'd be one thing if you're going to call the police if they're doing something to the kids. He filed a wellness check on Vita, on a predator, because he was going to get... Why? Why would you file a wellness check on someone you know is hurting kids? I don't know. But Vita ended up getting sent to a mental hospital. He proceeded to assault a police officer, a paramedic, and his own mother. He ended up going to jail and was... Well, he was... And this one really... I'm really convinced there's something... I'm sorry, like... I think there is something very wrong, I think, with the law in terms of, like, taking care of kids and whatnot, because he was charged with the assault on the officer and the doxing of 50 people at Sequestria Fest, but he was never charged with the grooming and abuse of kids online. And he was only in jail for a week, and then they just released him. He was released on $25,000 bail, presumably by his mom. I don't know who the hell else could release him. The quartering? No. No. Although he probably would, knowing what quartering just did recently. But Vita is really the closest that anyone in this community has gone to jail. Like, Toon Critic didn't go to jail. I don't think Grizzly the Medic ever did. I don't know what else to think. But, yeah, honestly, I think as soon as Vita had gotten outed, I think the community should have just ended there. And you're probably wondering, well, what about the victims? Go to CPS or go to the National Center for Missing or Exploited Kids or do anything, because calling the local PD for internet crimes I don't think is a good idea, because I don't think the local police are trained to deal with cybercrimes, are they? I don't know, but I think that's the reason why none of these people are going to jail. It's because of this thing. But yeah. So moving on, Coyote Lovely. So I guess this was supposed to be like a replacement for Vita, and watching his videos, and I don't know if his YouTube account's still around anymore, but it's obvious watching his videos he's trying to be Mr. Medicare. Like, with the way he talks and the way his videos are set up, it's obvious. It's also a bit hilarious considering these people hate Medicare because he exposed doodle tones and FNGR, but whatever. It also doesn't work when your avatar is a naked furry with a scat fetish. Again, what the fuck. Eventually he got outed for living with a zoophile and dating another zoophile who he was supposed to get arrested but didn't. Apparently this was supposed to be an operation that started in November of 2022. The zoophile hypnotist Sappho was never convicted. Apparently they were only in jail for a month. And yeah, And then finally it came out that Coyote Lovely was in fact flirting with Sappho, and that was the end of him. Just the complete end. So that's another person. So is there any sane person in this thing? The closest I found to a sane person is Lio Convoy. Now, Lio Convoy, like I said, he was a cartoon reviewer. He did a lot of reviews of 80s cartoons like Transformers, Thundercats, all that stuff. I think Ninja Turtles as well. And I did like his videos. I thought his videos exposing Anime Matsuri and Nicky Rackett's The Rail King were very good. I'd heard about the guy. I found out he has a wife, he has kids, he has a background in law enforcement, all should be good. No, he's a complete fraud like the rest of them. Again, he didn't know about Rain, he didn't know about NECMEC. He thought that if you just call the local police, they'll do something. And aside from the Vita thing, he hasn't gotten anybody convicted. It's just not working. And then over time, you really start to notice the wheels starting to fall off. There was a video where he got into this stupid argument with a 15-year-old in the Senate server, which was supposed to be like a new server after Beryl got kicked out. And I guess this was over somebody the 15-year-old was drawing an MS Paint drawing of porn. Never mind the fact I'm pretty sure everybody on this server draws porn. I mean, I know Coyote Lovely did, Doodle Diapers does. I don't know about Queen Seraphina, but yeah. He was getting into an argument with this stupid kid, and then right at the end, he called the kid's school claiming he was a school shooter, which he wasn't, and he had no evidence for it. So that was when you start to notice things starting to fall apart. Hydrate. And then I found out, and this is the rather disturbing part, none of his kids were his. Now, no, there was no cheating, there was nothing going on. What happened was he was trying to do a found family gimmick where he had 3 freshly turned adult sexual assault victims who he wasn't able to get justice for, so he just had them live in his house and have them pretend to be his kids? Yeah, it's weird. And apparently, Lio at the time was in his mid-30s, late 30s, while his kids were in their early, mid-20s. So they're, I'll be generous, just over a decade younger than him, which is kind of weird. And eventually, all of them left. Because according to all of them, Lio was toxic to live with. Opal left in 2022. The other person left. Jordan Mintart. Lio actually had Jordan living with him because apparently they were having mental problems. They almost tried to game end themselves as well. So, yeah, it's a mess. And then interviews started coming out with all the kids and their experience living there, and it's all the same thing. Lio actually did a response video on this, but a lot of it sounded kind of sketchy, like saying how Jordan apparently wasn't being very communicative. I can tell you why that's the thing, because if you're dealing, it's obvious that Jordan had mental problems. Obviously, the mom didn't care, that they weren't raised properly. They have a lot of trauma from years of all the abuse from all their abusers. It can really break a person. It's really bad. And I later found out something even more disturbing. So right around when Jordan was still living at home, and the mother and the mother's boyfriend, I found out that Lio, Vita, and FNGR, Lio tried to suggest that Jordan record their essay and send it to the police. Yes. He wanted Jordan to intentionally record their essay. This is a 17-year-old, by the way, 16, 17-year-old. intentionally record their essay as evidence. There's reasons why this doesn't work. First off, if you do the filming and nothing happens, the police still aren't going to do anything. And if something does happen, it can be considered entrapment. It can be considered CP or CSEM. Like you're basically trying to doing something disgusting just to try to get a predator arrested. Like, what the hell, man? Why would you suggest this? Now, the good news is he didn't suggest it, but when everyone found out about this, it's like, what the hell? And that's not even the worst thing that Lio has done. So, I mentioned Zaid Magenta earlier. I mentioned all the things about the YouTubers and whatnot. I later found out that Zaid was actually I told you Zaid was stalking and harassing people online for not liking the Star Wars movie and whatnot. He actually had this Elliot Rodger-looking hit list of a bunch of people. I recognized a lot of names on this list. A lot of them were kids or people who didn't even know who this guy was. He was actively stalking people over dumb shit over a dumb movie. That's messed up. But one of these people was a user named Rosa Ray Ramsey. Now, Rosa suffers from a lot of mental problems. She has epilepsy, seizures. She can't work. She can't really do anything. And so I guess Lio confronted her in defense of Zaid and whatnot. Gave him this whole spiel on having different opinions over things. And which, have you not been following the commentary community the past decade, Lio? It's the same thing. Everybody has to make a YouTube video on something if they have the slightest different opinion. Like, these guys went after Hero of Tomorrow because he didn't like the cartoons they liked. It was that kind of crap. So, I don't know what the heck was going on with Lio, but... And then it later came out that Rosa was in a Discord server where one of the moderators was a pedophile. The named... Fuck me, I already forget the name. But the server was run by Rebecca Starlight, or Star Giant Productions, who was one of the former editors of The Mysterious Mr. Enter and, I think, Lily Orchard. But apparently there was a predator in the server, and Rebecca Starlight also ended up getting outed as a predator as well. I don't know why they made Rosa a mod, because it's obvious Rosa can't really do anything. And she couldn't even do anything to get rid of this predator because the predator was a mod. Friggin' Lio goes ahead, just makes these horrendous videos. Fuck me, he made 3. The first one was whatever. Second one was her Lio slut-shaming, not victim blaming, just tearing this person apart. Rosa, you can tell, is just not there. And then there's a point where Lio was trying to tell her to game end herself all over stuff she can't do. And that's not